true wireless earbuds for $250. No multi-point, no in-ear sensor, no active noise cancelling. You still here? Well, you must be interested in the Campfire Orbit. Goedendag, we're DHRME. Don't hate real men's earbuds. We'll get right to it. These are pretty easy earbuds to review. We'll talk about three things: design, sound, and should you get it?
Well, at least when this audiophile company made wireless earbuds, we're happy that they didn't take a massive chunky design and just make it wireless. Moondrop! The hardware is really well thought out. The case is pocketable, the buds are tiny for what they can do. Well, we'll talk about it in the sound section, what they can really do, but here's the thing. I don't have giant sausage fingers, but even with my bare hands, these weren't the easiest to extract from the case. Even when you have thin gloves, this becomes a real challenge. And I was very concerned about dropping these in the canal while doing the microphone test. That'll be later in this video. And the color scheme? Well, I asked my 6-year-old if he liked it, and his response was, and I quote, "I especially like that bright part." So I guess these are kind of for a different generation because these colors are a bit different from what we're used to here. Not necessarily my style, but still, imagine having to design earbuds and a case in 2023 and then trying to stand out. There's a new set of earbuds almost every other week, or every week seems like, and Campfire has managed to stand out, and that's commendable. The shape has these soft angles, so it's very easy to handle and to pocket. Wireless charging is on board with a colorblind friendly LED indicator and a pairing button between the buds, as well as a USB Type-C port on the bottom.
And this tiny case? Well, due to the absence of active noise cancelling, the battery life is pretty damn good. 8.5 hours on the buds and 30 from the case. But this sounds better than it is. The Sony WF-1000XM4, for example, can do 8 hours with ANC. But still, if you're not a hankering for the cancelling, you'll be fine. The buds themselves are controlled by capacitive touch surfaces on either bud. A very straightforward control scheme that lets you do everything. Change volume, control playback, track control. Campfire Audio does have an app. You can't customize any of these because, let's face it, you don't really need to, but you can disable each of these controls in the app. There's no active noise cancelling on board, as we mentioned, so that's one gesture less you need to toggle on these buds. One thing we do want to say is that this is Campfire's first gen product, and it seems to have some first gen issues, especially around connectivity. We had the occasional blip connecting to the buds and the app, so we just threw the buds back into the case and hit the pairing button to resolve that.
The buds are also IPX5 and good enough for workouts or splashes or splashy workouts. In terms of comfort and fit, these were incredible for us. We used these with silicone tips for hours and they work just fine, never even coming close to falling out. So medium-sized ears like ours should be very happy with this. What you also get in the box is 3 pairs of silicone tips, 3 pairs of phone tips, and a lapel pin. Interesting merch choice from Campfire. And speaking of merch, the new stainless steel bottles are here from DHRME. It not only quenches your thirst, but it also quenches our thirst of making money. Satisfying. Check out shop.dhrme.nl for this bottle and many other designs. Now, the foam tips naturally give you slightly better passive noise cancelling, but luckily for us, the silicone tips fit just fine. This will of course affect the sound, but we'll come to that in a bit. Overall, these are very good at passive noise cancelling, even with the silicone tips, but then I guess that's a function of the fit you get. Okay, you know what? You're probably not buying these specifically for phone calls, but still, these have mics, so you kind of want to know how these do, right? Here are some samples. Campfire audio in noisy conditions. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Now the AirPods Pro Gen 2. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. Another campfire orbit with slightly more conditions. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, test. One, oh, it's getting really busy. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. One, two, three. AirPods Pro 2 in windy conditions. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. One, two, three. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. One, two, three. What did you guys think? Usable? We thought they were quite good for audiophile earbuds. But let's move on.
All right, let's talk about what you've been wanting to hear this whole review, the sound. First off, thanks to the app, you have a bunch of preset EQ options, as well as full control over a 7-band graphic equalizer. You're getting AAC codec connectivity on Apple devices and aptX adaptive on devices that support that codec. But how do they sound? To begin with, the volume is monstrous. 30% on the Samsung Galaxy Flip 4 was in loud hearing territory. I don't even want to guess what close to 100 does. This is a 10mm dynamic driver, and you know what? Campfire calls the Orbit's tuning north of neutral, which is to say a bit more bass boosted than neutral. We'd call it east of honky or south of boxy though. Instead of a frequency response chart, Campfire gives you these horizontal bars. So yeah, the tuning out of the box was surprisingly congested. Sure, it's punchy, but the tuning reminded us of all the criticism wireless earbuds get, especially Sony buds. We think Campfire assumed that these are wireless earbuds which will be used on the go, and so that extra mid-bass gets compensated by walking around and possible loosening of the seal. But anyway, we've changed up the tuning by pulling back the 500Hz band, raising the two mid-bands.
So the biggest lack for us is the sub-bass, even though the frequency should extend down to 5 Hz. Now, if you like them dark sound signatures, you'll be in praise of these shadows. Hey, great thing is that these respond very well to the in-app EQ, so you can kind of fix that. The mids are very recessed out of the box, however, but after compensating for that, these sound pretty great. The most unique thing about the Campfire Orbit was that when I was hearing these buds, I found myself looking a lot around behind me, a lot, like something or someone was approaching me. I think this might be the most impressive soundstage I've ever heard on true wireless earbuds, and that too without any kind of spatial audio trickery. Imaging also appears to be pinpoint, but you should not trust me on imaging because my brain is terrible at imaging. Subscribe for more honest admissions. The treble is on point, never getting sibilant, but treble junkies might be left wanting, as even after maxing out the treble frequency bands, it doesn't give you what I'd call a bright sound. But I'm just fine with that. The treble isn't thin though and does give you sufficient detail. Another good aspect of the sound is the timbre, and you know what? I'm a metalhead, and having played in bands myself, overdrive and distortion on guitars are as important as any other sound factor for me. I think these are very good for rock and metal, from classic Megadeth to Metallica's new Screaming Suicide. Guitars are rendered very well after EQing. In terms of genres, we'd think that these might be a little less suitable to hip hop and EDM, especially if that sub-bass rumble is your jam. It's there, but not as pronounced as some other earbuds we've tested.
A very interesting take is how Campfire has approached its EQ presets. They're simply numbered 1 through 7. You don't see what tweaks are being made, and you have to really listen carefully to see which one you like. It's actually kind of cool. There are also 2 presets you can completely customize using that 7-band EQ we mentioned. Alright, was that enough? The Campfire Orbit is a very interesting take on sound-focused wireless buds.
Now here's the difficult part. There's some really good sound-focused buds out there if you don't want to muck about with noise cancelling or any smart features. Let's start with the Final Audio ZE3000, and the Campfire reminds us a lot of the Final. Same rounded edge design and touch controls, but the Final are even more no nonsense than the Campfire. They don't even have an app, so you can't even tweak any EQs. So there is no first party EQ on board. The Campfire stock tuning is a bit mid-bass focused, well, bit is understating it, and the finals is clearer, but you can tweak the Campfire in the app, and we definitely think that they have the edge in sound. In many ways, the Campfires are the anti-Moondrop Alice. Those earbuds sound great too, but have a completely different focus sonically. Brighter and lighter on bass, and they're very rough around the edges on anything except sound, with a chunky design, a weird app situation, and connectivity issues. Campfire's connectivity wasn't perfect either, as we said, but at least the Campfire's app comes from the official stores and doesn't ask you to sideload apps from public sites on the internet. Campfire brings a lot more polish in terms of the software and hardware. And finally, in keeping with the shadow theme, here's a dark horse, a recommendation that might just blow your mind. We've not talked about this much on the channel, but the Sony WF C500. It's often shadowed by its premium siblings, the WF C500. This is a no-frills, extremely well-tuned set of buds that sound very, very good for the price. Seriously, these buds are so underrated and underpriced. They're a fifth of the cost of the Campfire Orbit at about $50. And you also get EQ control in Sony's app.
And then there are the ANC mainstream champs. Why not consider other excellent options out there? The Sony WF-1000XM4, AirPods Pro 2, the Sennheiser Momentum 3, the Samsung Buds 2 Pro, or the extremely underrated Oppo Enco X2. So much more value for money. Does the Campfire Orbit sound better than the Sennheiser Momentum 3 or the AirPods Pro 2? Maybe there's an argument to be made, but you're talking on the absolute fringes. In our mind, like a 3 or 5% difference. Don't get us wrong, we really enjoy the Campfire Orbit. If these were the only buds we had and money were no object, we'd be pretty happy. But we don't live in the shadows. Audiophile companies with wireless products have to use the same Bluetooth infrastructure as everyone else. Money is an object. Would we recommend the Campfire Orbit if money matters to you? No, not really. But audiophiles tend not to be like that. Luckily for us, they also don't watch this channel or run it.
If you want to see the full review of the Moondrop Alice, click here, and for our AirPods Pro 2 review, click here. Thanks to all our patrons and YouTube members, you guys make this possible. We now have 3 tiers which are consistent across Patreon and YouTube membership. So go ahead, join our DHRME army as a popsicle, icicle, or as a tested member or patron.
You've been seeing the light.
And we've been DHRME.
Namaste.